Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 67 of Six Figure Live. My name is Ben Hartley with Stound Story Creative and Six Figure Photography, and we are here in Columbus, Ohio at the Stound Story Creative Studio. Stephen Lowe's behind me. What up, Stephen? Ben Adams is on the other side, as always. Look, you guys, we're 67 episodes in. If this is your first time joining, welcome. The entire purpose of Six Figure Live is to bring you guys behind the scenes at what goes on here at Stound Story Creative, to get you guys inside of our heads a little bit, to answer questions, to provide value in any way. And really, the other main critical aspect about this, hey, Stephen, can you pull up this so I can see comments as they come in? Right on my phone would be great. So the other main value for Six Figure Live is, look, I exchange emails with you guys all the time. We have that opportunity to connect. You guys listen to the podcast, and it's really great. But as far as actually dialoguing with you and getting to know you guys just a little bit better, it only happens really at conferences and during workshops, one-on-one mentoring. And so for me, Six Figure Live is an opportunity to open up that dialogue, to get to know you guys, to actually meet you guys in some way. And so please hop on here, leave comments, talk to me. That's actually like a huge component to why I do what I do. So you guys, Steven's getting the comments all pulled up, ready to go, so I can see what you guys are saying. We're going to be talking about second shooting. One of my favorite things to do is to actually field questions from you guys, and we had a great question come in about second shooting gigs. And I just figured, rather than just answering that and then moving on to another question, I would turn it into a whole episode. So we're going to talk a lot about second shooting today. But before we do that, intro video time. Thanks, you guys. Welcome to Six Figure Live. Yes, I love it. Things worked. The audio worked. Audio's still working today. I'm trying out a few things, you guys. So we've got a new webcam right around there. The mic is actually working today. The audio is all on point. So I'm super excited about that. I'm trying to make this as high production value for you guys as possible, while still just being super candid and in the moment. That's really my goal with this too, is just to be super candid in the moment with you guys. And so anyhow, thank you so much for joining. Hey, if you guys watched yesterday's episode, we talked a little bit about really working your butt off on a wedding day, like hustling and going crazy hard. And we mentioned Stephen Lowe ripped his pants. Stephen, where are your pants? I think Stephen brought his pants in. He shot a wedding on Saturday, and full from front to back, complete rippage. I thought you were gonna wear them actually for us.
Just stick my head through them.
Oh my gosh! What did you do?
It's actually cool because it was this shot. So there's this. This is more so than halfway through a reception. People are dancing, and this song comes up, and the bride and groom are dancing in the middle, and everybody just starts surrounding them, creates this giant circle. And I was like, oh my gosh, this will look so cool from above. But obviously, above is not always easy to get to. So I ran up the stairs and shooting it along the way. Oh yeah, I forgot about the mic. And there's this lip that I had to reach over and couldn't really see. So I decided to climb up, and thus I ripped my pants on accident.
There you go. Awesome, man. Just felt like we acknowledged it last episode, and it was noteworthy enough that we should probably show the pants this episode around. So you guys, so here's the deal. I was fielded a question through my inbox. I got a question. By the way, you guys, if you email me, I read it. Not only will I read it, I'll respond to it. I read every single email you guys send. I'm a real person on the other end of all this stuff. And so I just want you to know that. And so I got this great question from someone. And rather than just responding to her email, I thought that we could talk a little bit more about it. And so this is the question that I got. It started with this, and it was just a whole train of thought that came from it. So here we go. I want to do wedding photography, but I'm having trouble. I've tried contacting almost every wedding photographer in my area to second shoot or assist them, but they all reply that they don't need any other shooters. So just trying to figure out how to get into this area. And so I thought that we could talk a little bit about second shooting because I think it's a component to like everyone. I think everyone at some point should be second shooting. Like if you're a wedding photographer and you haven't second shot, at least a couple weddings, it makes me really scared for your clients. It makes me really nervous. I actually don't think this should be like a badge of honor that we wear, that we're like, I never second shot. Like I really do think that we owe it to the people who are paying us, and not just paying us, but also just like trusting us to tell their story and capture their memories, to actually be able to show up and deliver. And I think having gone before and actually like practiced at an actual wedding, that's really all second shooting is. I mean, let's be real. It's like practice for when you're like in the big leagues doing it on your own. So this photographer's having a hard time. I think that I think it comes down to two reasons why they're having a hard time. I mean, it really just boils into two things. If you're reaching out and you've contacted every photographer in your area and they all say no, one of two things is happening. Either one is you're not providing enough value, right? You're just not actually doing anything for them. You're not providing value. Or two, they're just too busy. And the reality is this is like April, or what's the analogy here? As April is to like, accountants, like this is, how it is for us as photographers in October, where for many of us, at least I can talk for myself in the Midwest, this is like the crazy season, right? This is the season where everyone wants engagement pictures because it's the fall leaves are falling, right? And everything's beautiful. The weather's starting to cool off a little bit, so no one's going to get sweaty. This is also the time where like a lot of weddings are also taking place during this time because of that. And then you now have a backlog of all these other clients who you're still trying to edit and you're still trying to deliver their pictures to, meet with, present images. And so October gets crazy, okay? So the option two could be very real as well, that it's just real shit timing, right? And you have to be aware of this, like now is probably not the time to be emailing a photographer and saying like, hey, can I come shoot a wedding with you? Like they've gotten all this stuff figured out well in advance. And so understand that photographers, like for us as a studio, we are lining up all of our second shooters for the entire year, like January, February, right? So don't be contacting photographers in October, August, to do that. The next thing is going back to value, man. This gets tricky because I don't just want to dog on people or diss or anything like that. But like you have to provide value, and I understand that if you've never shot a wedding before and you don't have a portfolio of work to show, it is hard to go up to a photographer and say, hey, I would love to second shoot for you. I have zero work, zero experience. I'm actually a pretty terrible photographer, but I'm trying to get better, right? For them to say yes. And so the one thing that you have to go off of is don't even aim for second shooting jobs. And my God, don't aim for like paid second shooting jobs. Aim for like third shooting jobs. And a lot of times, you guys, third shooting jobs, it's not shooting. It's just like you are the bag boy. You're the person who's running around and working their ass off, moving lenses and lights and light stands. And I know that you mentioned assisting, but it may be just changing the kind of framework a little bit in that, probably pay isn't going to be something to expect at this point if everyone's saying no. And I think the big value that you have to add is like, you're going to like hustle, like work. Like that, like to me, when I have a second shooter come in or an assistant, for the longest time we had assistants at every wedding, I was not looking for a talented photographer. I was literally looking for someone who just was so passionate. They wanted to learn and they were willing to work so freaking hard on the wedding day, right? They were willing to just like, when it came time to, hey, I need an 85. Where's my 85? Shit, it's in the car. That without me even saying anything, they would have registered that need the 85 and have already started sprinting to the car, right? Like that is something that will really get you ahead. So I got to tell you guys a story. Look, there's a second shooter. One of my second shooters, my main second shooter, her name is Chaylin Brown. Love you, girl. If you're watching right now, Chaylin Brown, she just started second shooting for me this year. You guys, she like third shot, like assisted for 2 years prior. And I mean, Chandler, I love you, but to be honest, like the work wasn't there, right? The work just was not there. But man, do you know what was there? Like her work ethic, her drive. She worked harder than anybody else. And I would put her against any other second shooter in the business. She just was, or third shooter assistant. Like she just really, really worked her ass off. And I took notice of it. And we started to actually just simply invest into her and welcome her onto more jobs and start to trust her with more and more things because we saw how badly she wanted it. Man, you guys have to want this. You have to be willing to put in the work and really like, you gotta be willing to rip some pants. You know what I'm saying? And now she's our second shooter. But the other thing too is, maybe it's not second shooting weddings. Maybe it's second shooting like a commercial video shoot, or maybe it's second shooting and holding like a reflector at a newborn, portrait session. And so, that's the other thing too, that there's a lot of things that you need to be doing or could be doing that'll help. The last thought is this: don't be a stranger. When I get a cold email that hits my inbox that says, "Hey, Ben, my name's, Jerry, and I'd love to second shoot for you." Well, that's great, Jerry. I don't know jack about you. And I've got a list of a bunch of other people that I could go and reach out to, right? So all I'm trying to say is don't be a stranger. I would be way more likely to acknowledge and to begin a dialogue with someone who I've met with, who I've seen at other like photography meetups, who maybe they've commented on some images, they've emailed me to talk about something else, like, you know what I mean? Like, just don't be a stranger. Don't be a stranger. This is so important. Show up to meetups, show up to groups, get to know your community, give back to them. When you just kind of cold email, that I just think it's really challenging. It's really challenging to do. And it can be as simple as just like liking their page on Facebook and leaving a comment or leaving a review. That could just be a great way to actually show up and be recognized. Ryan Gandy just got a tip from me here. Just a tip for people trying to second shoot: maybe see if George Street Photography is in your market. I got started second shooting with them. Nice, as a freelance gig. From there, I met other photographers. Then that brought me into second shooting for their personal businesses. I'm doing my last wedding with them next month, but the experience with them has helped me immensely in my own business. So much so, I don't need them now. Ryan Gandy, thank you so much for commenting on that, dude. That's a great point. By the way, Ryan was on the podcast a month or two ago. Dude, Ryan, that's so on point, man. I love it. George Street. I don't have the highest respect for George Street Photography as like a main photography business, but my goodness, Ryan leveraged that opportunity to start getting gigs and to start second shooting, and was able to turn the switch and then start second shooting for other personal brands. And now, dude, Ryan is slaying it. Actually, Ryan, fun thought here. Ben Adams, Steven, and I were just talking today about how hard you are slaying it right now. Like how much you've grown in your work. You and your wife, Lacey, are just incredible. So anyway, mad props. Thanks for saying something. So another note here too, there's other groups online that really foster a great community and opportunity for you to find second shooting gigs, right? So one on Facebook is just Jasmine Starr's little second shooting group. It's like J and then like asterisk second shooters. It's a private group. You may need to ask permission. But if you're looking for second shooting gigs and all the local photographers are saying no, and you know that you can hustle, you know you've got passion, and then maybe there's not seeing it, or maybe it's because you're contacting them in October. There's an opportunity there to maybe find some gigs. The other option, and this is probably, yeah, it probably is. Let's be real. This is probably the next step up, and this is Fearless Photographers. Style and Story Creative, we're a part of Fearless, so Fearless Photographers. But Fearless Photographers has a second shooting, a seconds kind of section, and so it's like www.fearlessphotographers.com/seconds. I'll drop a link for you guys down there. And there's an opportunity to find some really amazing gigs and to really actually shoot some beautiful weddings with some really talented photographers, potentially destination stuff. But that's honestly like, I don't really view those as like the type of second shooting jobs that we're talking about right now, where if you can't even get a local gig just to build your portfolio, I don't think that's maybe the move is to go on there. I think they're probably looking for someone who's maybe going to be able to deliver the goods a little bit more. But actually, let's talk about that for a minute. What does it look like for me? I'm not when I'm looking for a second shooter to actually start shooting for us as a studio, I'm not looking for someone who's going to like deliver head shooter shots, right? There's actually something very different that I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone who's going to deliver consistent shots, like safe shots. I want to be the one running around going crazy and doing all the weird stuff. I need someone who I know and can trust will get the safe shots, who will just nail that down and honestly not get in my way in the process. Because sometimes it gets a little challenging when you're like competing for those roles. That's something too that just comes with time of working together consistently with someone. But I think that's a lot of it. I think it comes down to poor timing, that they're just too busy to be able to connect with you, or perhaps the main one is just you're really not conveying the value that you have to offer. And I understand if you don't have work, if you don't have portfolio, you're going to need to deliver on something else. And I think that is not having a camera on the wedding day, but instead just like really hustling, really working your butt off, and being willing, if this is what you really want to do, being willing to subject yourself to some like super intense days. And maybe it's not a wedding the first time. Maybe it's a commercial shoot. Maybe it's a baby shoot. So that would be my advice for getting second shooting jobs. Ryan Gandy, thanks so much for dropping that line in there as well about how he. And by the way, you guys, if you want to see that episode, Ryan Gandy, he came to Abundance, maximizing joy, meaning, and profits. It's our Sound Story Creative 6-figure photography workshop that we do once a year, and he came. And I had an opportunity to also shoot his wedding, which was really crazy awesome. But anyhow, and then we did a podcast episode that just recently, and I'll link the podcast episode down for you guys. But the podcast episode kind of took us along Ryan's journey of how he went from nothing, right? From being in the situation of just needing work, needing second shooting jobs, trying to build his portfolio, to scaling his business to be where it is today. It's really incredible how much he's grown. So you guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Super appreciate it. Look, I guess that's about it. Tomorrow's episode 68, and so we're in like peak season mode. By the way, you guys, if you want to know what we're up to here at Sound Story, it's just like editing nonstop, right? Absolutely editing nonstop. And so as soon as I hang up, I'm going to jump back into an engagement session, and we're just going to keep our heads down and get stuff done. On the topic of editing, you guys, like focus up. This is my encouragement. Like close out of Netflix, right? Close out of Netflix, put on some premium beats, focus up, and get your shit done. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys. I got to find the like end button. Where's the end button? It's always so sneaky. I had such a great ending that was just like, boom. Huh. I have no clue how to end. We're hanging out still. Yeah, it's still just like hanging out. How many photographers does it take to end it? Yeah, how many? Yeah, can we get everyone involved in this here? Right? It's like not there. It's not even with that. Thanks for the love, you guys. No, that will just close that. All right, well, man, I'm just gonna power down my computer. I'm just gonna like hard shut down on my computer. Seriously, Facebook just like disappeared. It like minimized it. Troubles. Yeah, it's not there. Bye, you guys.